Eagle Double G.
YouTube, this is your friendly neighborhood movie nerd, back to give you guys everything that is going on in the world of movies. And now I am back after a very long hiatus, finally back doing reviews, which, as you know, is what I love doing in the first place. So let me start off this review by telling you guys a little story about myself. 6 years ago, I saw Fast 5 in theaters at the Poughkeepsie Galleria in April of 2011. I was 13 years old, and it was the first time I'd seen a Fast and Furious movie in theaters. I'd seen like bits and pieces of the fourth movie, Fast and Furious, on TV, but this was the first Fast and Furious movie I saw in theaters. And as you guys know, if you are fans of the franchise, Fast 5 was what really kicked things into high gear for this franchise. 2 years later, in May of 2013, I saw Furious 6. I was 15 years old. It was the first May release, and it just kicked the stunts and everything that was going on that was great in Fast 5 to a whole new level of pandemonium and ridiculousness. Then fast forward another 2 years, I'm 17, a senior in high school, and I see Furious 7 in theaters. This is about a year now after the passing of Paul Walker, almost 2, and that derailed the production behind that film. However, I am back now, 2 years later, with the 8th installment in this film franchise. It has just cracked over 500 million worldwide. It broke the Force Awakens records. And so here we go. This is my review for the 8th installment in this stupid franchise that just will not stop. This is my review for The Fate of the Furious. Really stupid title, too.
Speaker buds blast, go rat-tat-tat-tat. In fact, we about to go up like
Shit! We're gonna need a bigger truck!
The film kicks off in Cuba after the events of the last one, where main characters Dom and Letty, played of course by Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez, are enjoying their honeymoon. However, Dom is soon approached by a mysterious woman named Cypher, played by Charlize Theron, who is the Grandmaster Hacker. She reveals that she is basically the one who was behind the previous 2 bad guys that Dom and the crew faced in the last 2 movies, that being Owen Shaw, played by Luke Evans in Furious 6, and Mos Gioconda, played by Djimon Hounsou in the last one, Furious 7. And after successfully doing what Spectre tragically failed to doing by announcing herself as the big bad behind the big bads from the last film, Cypher manages to do the unthinkable and turn Dom against his own team. Now, with no choices left, Hobbs, played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Letty, Roman, Tej, and the rest of their band must team up with both old and new allies in order to bring their patriarch, Dominic Toretto himself, home to where he really belongs. And they're gonna kick a lot of ass and not chew a lot of bubblegum along the way. And also back for the ride are both Mr. Nobody, played by Kurt Russell, as well as former enemy turned ally Deckard Shaw, played by Jason Statham. So without giving too much away, let me sum up one thought that I can get across to absolutely everyone. If you love this franchise, you're gonna love this movie. And if you hate this franchise, you will not like this movie. It really is that simple. For everyone who is a massive fan of this high-octane, thrill-filled, no-holds-barred, Looney Tune-like cartoonish action and complete lack of both the laws of physics and reality, this movie just turns the dial up to 11. So coming off of his latest massive awards hit straight out of Compton, F. Gary Gray takes over from James Wan for this installment, and he brings a new tone of seriousness to this film that hasn't really been there for the past couple of installments, and I have to say, I actually don't mind it that much. You would think that the seriousness and the melodramaticness of Dom and what he's going through versus what The Rock is doing now as basically the co-leader of this team would kind of get in the way of this film, especially just because the last 2 films specifically really did not take themselves seriously at all. But I have to say, I really didn't mind it this time around. I thought the action set pieces were absolutely fantastic. From the beginning in Cuba, jumping to New York, which is the first time we've seen New York in this franchise, to the final battle in Iceland, which was absolutely fantastic. The way that they put the Iceland battle right next to the plane battle, which, like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything, but Jason Statham steals every single scene that he's in this movie, and his fight that he's in the end on Cypher's plane is absolutely fantastic. For a franchise that has gone so over the top and outlandish with its stunts, you would think that they would really fall into a lot of the same old traps, but this movie successfully manages to bring about completely brand new ways to both destroy cars and drive them in ways you would never have thought imaginable. And while the hand-to-hand combat is a little jumpy at times, Gray manages to make the best of it, and he makes it as little dizzy and disorienting as he possibly can. As for the rest of the cast, they are just back and doing exactly what they always do with these movies, and they may not be the best batch of actors on the planet, but they really have come to work extremely well together ever since they were all brought together 6 years ago. Their chemistry is on point as per usual. They are just a blast to watch on screen together. Like, that's the thing that really separates this franchise from Transformers, is this franchise is characters that you care about and that you have been sympathizing with because you've gotten to know them through so many different movies over the years. Vin Diesel is still mumble growling and the king of dramatic close-ups. Michelle Rodriguez is still looking like she's gonna take a massive shit every time she looks tough. Roman and Tej are just back just cracking one-liners because that's all they do. And of course, The Rock is back to steal literally every single scene of this movie, more than making up for his severe lack of presence in the last installment. Unfortunately, this film also does have a lot of new additions to the cast, and I have to say they were probably the weakest parts of this movie. Scott Eastwood is still just an extremely boring and pretty, despite the fact that I will say he is trying pretty hard in this movie for whatever reason. It's a Fast and the Furious movie. For Charlize Theron, I just felt like she was in a completely different movie for most of it. Like, unfortunately, this coest off as a weakest performance, which sucks because some of the lines they gave her are really freaking cool, but she just does nothing with them. And it even sucks more because they've completely wasted both Tormund Giantsbane, whose real name is Christopher Heavju, as her henchman, Connor Rose, and Helen Mirren as Deckard Shaw and Owen Shaw's mom. Completely wasted, basically delivered right down to a cameo, which sucks because she was great in it. I could bore you with more details, but let's face facts. We don't go to these movies for story. We go for the visuals, and man, did we get thrown for a major curveball. So, in an age where every studio is attempting to get their own franchise to compete with Disney, Universal is still trucking along with this franchise, managing to throw us for a ton of new loops and amp up the action to such incredible levels of stupidity, making us all forget about our want for original ideas. I love this franchise, and I just hope it keeps going 1/4 mile at a time. I'm giving this movie 6 out of 10 stars. I know I'm probably drawing away a lot of fans of this franchise, but this is probably my favorite installment since 5. So that's it. That is my review for The Fate of the Furious. What did you guys think? Whatever you think, let me know in the comments below. Also, make sure you click that like button and that subscribe button. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Movie Nerd Review. Also, head on over to the site movienerdreviews.com. That is it. I will see you guys next time.
Go!